Hi, this is Alex Power with Creative Cinema, and today I will show you best video settings for filmmaking with Canon DSLRs. Don't go anywhere, we'll be right back. Alright, this is one of my favorite cameras for filmmaking, Canon 80D. It's not super expensive, but it has a really nice features that I'm definitely gonna highlight today. So let's get to it. First, you just have two ways of changing settings on the camera. First is just going to the menu, pressing a button, going tab by tab and exploring that. We're not gonna cover this today. We will go straight into the touch screen, which is just like most people are comfortable with today. So press this little Q button on the right hand side, and we will start with the frame rates. Frame rates are important. I usually shoot with either 24 frames per second or 30 frames per second. But when you have to change the frame rate, when let's say you want to do a slow motion, it would be appropriate for that will be 59, which is basically 60 frames per second. This is definitely really good if you want to slow down this in the post-production and get things going. So let's put, for the sake of it, let's put 24 frames per second. That will give you a cinematic look. And let's get back to the main menu. Next thing on the menu will be picture style. You press this button here with letter S, which is on standard profile right now. And you can change the picture style anytime. You can really install and shoot in log format. So let's see. I have a custom profiles here. So custom profile number one, it's a cine style. Cine style basically will wash out all the colors from the picture, and as you can see, it's already kind of washed out. You will definitely be able to go next step with your color grading. This is really good when you have more time for changing the colors on your video and playing with it. If you need to film something fast, like a YouTube video, and you don't want to deal with the color grading, standard profile would work just fine. So you just go back to that Q, go to letter S, will be the one, stands for standard. So I keep that standard quite a lot. Next, very important thing will be the audio settings for your camera. For that one, we will need to go to the menu here. This button on the top. It's going to be in the first tab, but number 4. You press and go to the sound recording. It's currently on manual, so I would set this towards the left. So basically, you don't have to be too low, but you don't want to be too high. So definitely you don't want the camera to decide which sound levels to use. So if you have it on automatic mode, probably that's what you will have by default. See, it's picking right now. So now you go back to manual and set this first section, and then a little below this first section, like slightly to the right, so towards the left. So that way you will make sure you're not picking. Your sound's not picking, and then it's regulated. And you can use external microphones, you can plug in and use it. Okay, next thing up will be an autofocus system. You might say that you are comfortable with shooting manual lenses. That's okay, but that's where the Canon 80D and 70D shine with their autofocus system. So to change the autofocus options, you have like 4 buttons here on top, right here. So you press the very first one on the left, and it will give you 3 options. So the first option will be face tracking. The second option will be an autofocus, like the wider area, and the third one will be the one I mostly use in my videos. That one will be the one. So let's say you want to track something with your finger. You can just simply tap to that and it will stay in focus. So you want to go back, let's say here, it will stay in focus. So all the time, if you're tracking someone's walking, you just press to this and then it's gradually will change the focus. So it goes really fast and really smooth. Some shots would definitely need to be done manually, but this is a really good feature to have, and you don't have any reason not to use it. Okay, next thing we'll be covering is an ISO. Basically, there is an icon here on the right hand side, and you can change ISO by just dragging this. You know, the lower the ISO, the better quality image you will get, basically. I wouldn't recommend with this camera go anywhere beyond 3200, but you're pretty safe. Below 1600 you're very safe too. So again, you want to change the ISO settings, play with it, and I cannot tell you which ISO you're gonna use for your shots, because it depends on the light conditions, it depends on how wide is your aperture open, so it depends on many things. You will need to judge this with your own eyes when you expose for a certain shot. Next thing will be an aperture. So some lenses have really wide open aperture. For this one I have like a one step above the kit lens. It's 18 to 135 millimeter lens, and it has a variable aperture. That means it goes from 3.5 to f5.6. So I'm zoomed all the way in right now on this little Lego guy. Let's say I would want to go like wider. The aperture will change. See, it changed to 5 right now. So I go even more, it will change to 4. So I'll zoom in all the way, and it will go to the maximum aperture 5.6. So it's set automatically, but you cannot change this because that's the minimum aperture for this fully zoomed in. But some lenses you can, if you use a manual lens, you just use it manually. So that makes sense. It's pretty easy. If you have a zoom lens with a constant aperture, you can just simply open the aperture wider and reduce your ISO. That will give you better image quality. So next thing will be a shutter speed. Shutter speed usually goes by the thumb rule. So when you shoot 30 frames per second, you get twice as much shutter speed. It will be 60 shutter speed. If you're shooting 24 frames per second, that will be 50. So twice as much, a thumb rule. But I'm finding myself pretty often breaking this rule. When it's too bright outside and you want to get that shallow depth of field, you can break this rule basically and increase your shutter speed. So changing your shutter speed will be two simple steps. You either press this button here, press on the touch screen and change it, drag it, or you can go back. You can just, you have a little wheel here, you can just scroll this wheel to the right, it will increase shutter speed, and you can scroll it to the left, it will reduce the shutter speed. So we're shooting right now 24 frames per second. It will be twice as much, will be a 50 shutter speed. Perfect for that one. Okay, next thing I really like about this particular camera, 80D, it will be a digital zoom. So you basically go to the Q button here and you press the icon, the third icon here, and you can just turn it on, turn digital zoom on. So let's say we'll go like, we'll open a little wider, and so let's turn it off. See how far it is, and you just press this on, it will get this close. So if we were even closer, it can give you a really nice look. If you want to get that real close up, but you cannot get too close and your lens is not allowing you to get closer with optical thing, you can use this digital zoom, and that will help you to get this close up really from far away with your zoom lens. That's a really cool feature, I think. Alright, we covered pretty much everything we need to get started with your camera settings for filmmaking. Thanks for watching, guys. Feel free to leave a comment below on what is the best settings for your DSLR camera. See you guys later.